but I'm not afraid of dying. I think it will come as a relief.
I guess let's talk about Arslan's tier list now. This is a meme and it says r/Tekken, basically the Tekken player base this month. And it's a picture of Jin and Brian Fury and how everyone hates them. So this is not Arslan's tier list. This is Genghis Khan. He says the only correct tier list: Dragunov still number 1, Nina, Yoshi, Alyssa, Jin. I have been saying that Claudio is a monster. I don't know if you guys remember that when I was like, no one's paying attention to Claudio, but I guarantee like in a month or so, people are going to be talking about Claudio. And now look, he's top 10. You know, people talk a lot of trash about Shahid and Fang, but they're right next to Kazuya. And then look at Steve Fox too, right? When we get to Arslan's tier list, bro, look for Steve Fox's placement. Because Steve Fox players, they always talk about how, oh, this guy sucks and he needs buffs. Here's another tier list. This tier list is from a Tekken Emperor, Reina. So this is more of our skill level. And it has 2,800 likes. That's a lot of likes. Once again, you see Kazuya very high, same level as all these other characters. Steve Fox is a little bit lower. King is so ridiculous in this game. I'm guessing this is a online tier list because they're Emperor, right? And I think in an online setting, King is stronger than Law and Fang. When you look at the bottom three, right? Panda, Devil Jin, Azazina. Now, I don't know if people think that Panda should be buffed, but I know people think that Devil Jin and Azazina should be buffed. Zafina was right here next to these characters at the bottom as well. But now that Shadow's doing great work, now that people are starting to really pay attention, they're realizing that, oh, snap, she wasn't the worst character in the game. Remember when people was making fun of Shadow for playing Zafina? Because everyone thought she was trash? I think Arslan specifically said bottom 5. Look at Zafina. Is that bottom 5 or is that like top 15 or whatever? I do agree that Devil Jin and Azazina is probably stronger than what people are saying she is. Azazina, people don't understand her. And then Devil Jin, people want Devil Jin to be powerful like Jin, which he was at the start of the game, but at the start of the game, people complained about how powerful he was, so they took him down a little bit, and then now that they took him down a little bit, everyone's like, he's worse in the game. We're just going to repeat this cycle where they buff Devil Jin, and he's going to be back on the level of Jin, and people are going to hate him again. And you're just going to go back and forth between hate, love, hate, love. So this is a reaction to the tier list. What does it say?
Why don't you just try 100 characters until you find one you like? No, man, because you don't know what you're looking for. Pick the hottest character and fucking go off. That's it. That's all you got to, or go to icyveins.com, highest tier character, and then choose a character 1 tier below that. So anytime you lose to a higher tier character, you could be like, oh, but that's just because they play Ryu. You should love yourself. Now, you should take a breath of that oxygen in the atmosphere.
Whose tier list is this? This is Dark Angel. Okay, let's see what you got, Dark Angel. This is Dark Angel's tier list. They sent it to me. Wait a minute. You got Victor? Okay, this is... Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Okay, Dark Angel. A couple of questions before we dive into this. 1, what's your main character? 2, what rank are you? So we could just understand like what skill levels this is for. They main Zafina and their rank is Bushin. Okay, I'm trying to like quickly think about the Zafina archetype and what that character does. Because I know Zafina, a very bad matchup for Zafina is Yoshimitsu. And when I look at these characters you have up here, I could imagine that you also would struggle with Zhao Yu. Yoshimitsu can spin and dance around Zafina, and I would imagine Zhao Yu could do the same thing. And Nina, I would imagine she could just blast through whatever you're doing. This tier list is rage bait. I could see why a Zafina player would be so upset with Victor, because the same way that the Victor player, you guys remember when I just showed my match and the Victor kept like doing explosions and jumping over me and hitting me, and like I could imagine Zafina players would die in that matchup. I really don't understand why you think Paul Phoenix is this powerful. He is powerful, but top 2 in the game is pretty wild. Why is Eddie so high up? Can you just give us like a short example of why you think Eddie is best in the game? Jun Kazama, I once again also understand, because Jun Kazama she's very tricky. She has a lot of -9s and she has a lot of deception. She has a lot of guaranteed follow-ups. Her can kicks is very deceptive. I get why you think she's very powerful as well. And I would add to this and say that she is a character who's very powerful online. And online, people don't give her enough credit, but also in a tournament environment where people know everything about every character, a character like this does not succeed. A character like this gets destroyed. Arslan says in the top right, he says characters in order. So everything is in order. Joka says, thank you for putting Reina above Heihachi. Arslan says, haha, Heihachi is so bad without warrior mode activated. Someone says facts. I think it's super funny how there was so many Jin mains talking trash about Yoshimitsu. Now look at you guys, we're bumping shoulders. It just speaks to how trash people are and how much they look for excuses. When you go up against a good Jin player, you have no options. Oh yeah, Harag and Steve. You know Harag and Steve has been the characters that people has been saying is the trash for longest, right? Now, people spent the majority of this year talking about how Steve Fox is the worst character in the game. Like FDX. FDX just said, oh, this game would be much better if every character was Steve Fox level. You guys remember that saying being thrown around like literally a month ago? Now, this is what Arslan Ash thinks Steve Fox is. I do think Steve Fox is stronger than what people give credit, but I don't know if I would say he's this high. I don't know if I would say he's stronger than King, Zhao Yu, Kuma. But I do think he's far stronger than what people say, and Harag as well. Harag's damage and wall travel and mix-ups and everything is really, really strong. I don't think there's any character in this game that's truly trash like people try to say. I think there's a lot of characters in this game who are very effective. And I think every character has very few flaws. You just have to play them the way that they're meant to be played, like Azazina. People want to play Azazina like she's Jin Kazama, and you can't do that. Of course, if you view her through that perspective, she's going to be a very trash character. You have to play her with the way that the developers intended her to play. You have to view Azazina the same way you view Zhao Yu, in my opinion. Zhao Yu is a character who dances around, who crushes, who evades. That's what you got to tap into with Azazina. Her auto low parry, auto high crush, her back turn dancing. You got to tap into all of that stuff. And once you do, you can make some serious progress with the character. Now, Raven, on the other hand, the one thing that Raven has is his teleport. Raven mains can spam that bad boy over and over and over again without any consequence. And I do think that's a problem, but also that's like his only crutch. And they do that. I feel like they do that because they have nothing else. The way that Raven has to struggle to activate heat, and Raven mains play like they're desperate. They play like they're desperate to get in the heat. They play like they're desperate to like try to make something work. I think every character should have to play that way, like they're desperate. A lot of characters play like everything is so easy, everything is just given to them, and I think you should have to work for it. The idea of working for it is a concept that really doesn't exist in Tekken 8. Every character just gets easy, whatever, you know? But going back to Steve, is like how people said Steve Fox was trash for the last 5 months. I wonder if the developers have been prepared, because, you know, they're preparing for season 2, right? And it takes a long time to study each character. I don't know what their process is, if they go character by character or if they're just all over the place. But let's assume that they already have a list of buffs that they want to give Steve Fox because everyone said he's trash. Now that people are starting to say that he's actually stronger than what he is, do those developers look at this tier list and be like, oh, we're preparing all these buffs, let's pull it back? Or do they say, up, it's too late, get prepared for Steve Fox top 3 in the whole game? Basically what I'm saying is, we got about 5 or 6 tier lists from Arslan Ash this year, and all of them conflict with one another. In one tier list, Steve Fox at the bottom. Now he's at the top. In another tier list, Jin Kazama's very low. Now he's at the top. In another tier list, Claudio's at the bottom. Now he's at the top. Arslan is not giving us a consistent take on what's the strongest characters in the game. So how can the developers look at these tier lists and take anything meaningful away from it? It's just gibberish at the end of the day. Think about it. The balancing of this game has stayed the same, and it took this long for people to realize how powerful Harag and Steve is. It took months. And now that people are saying that these characters are stronger, so what have you guys been doing for the past couple of months? You guys been gaslighting us?